That's where the tricky bit starts, right?
And that's completely fine as long as they mention in the brief again.
Yes.
Yeah. Get your face in it.
All right, girls. So today we are talking about authenticity versus style in a content creator's work, I guess. I think just to make sure that we're on the same page in terms of UGC and what it means generally from a content creator perspective, I guess, because we debated this before, like, right? I mean, at the beginning, what's UGC and how it works. But from a creator's perspective, how would you define UGC as a lifestyle, for example?
So I think from my perspective, with the experience of being a marketing manager in the past, I would say that user-generated content is essentially the type of content that you would like to get from the influencers, but in like a more organic, relatable way. So it's not as salesy and it's not coming from someone who's very much a ambassador of the brand. So you don't want necessarily that person to become the face of the brand, but you want them to have that feel of like they are client or like an aspirational client for the brand. When we used to use user generated content in our marketing, I think to differentiate a good piece of UGC and like an average or mediocre one was that someone's personality was still coming through the video, even though it was generic enough to actually engage a lot of different audiences. But would be interesting to hear from your side, Ali.
I would say pretty similar to what you said there. I suppose my way of saying it is proper. So obviously like real UGC, like user actual generated content is your actual review. So if someone buys it, they're not like a paid actor or whatever to do it. But I always think then like the UGC, what it is, it's that kind of, as you said, they're like taking that personality and into it as well. I think too with influencers, the big thing with that is the fact that they definitely are, it's them. Whereas with a UGC creator as well, you don't really want the face of the brand much so. Well, most brands don't anyway, because typically nowadays a face of the brand and they keep seeing that same person again, automatically turn off because like that's an ad, like that's their job, they're getting paid to advertise that. Whereas I think the good thing about it is the fact with UGC creators, it's not always just one face, it's multiple different people and they are acting as the customers and like using those actual real reviews or using real actual testimonials to then convey that in a different form. So I feel like I always go back to it that I see it now, to be honest, as nearly UGC creators are paid actors, because technically, if we get into the nitty gritty of it, like an actual user generated content would be someone like my mom goes and buys something, not that she ever posts on social media, but if she actually put up and like, oh, I love this is really good. No one paid her to do that. No one told her to do that. Whereas with a UGC creator, we are being paid to do that. However, our job is then to make it look more authentic. So it's like that authenticity is there, but it's in different form, I always think as well. And then obviously too, that the face of the brand's slightly different as well.
So it will be basically something like you reacting like your mom, being like super like natural and authentic about the product, but kind of like crafting the video so that it is more related to the brand and to their audience, probably, right?
It is literally trying to replicate, but in a more engaging way. So like how someone really would actually feel about it. And I think that's sometimes the difference. So for example, you could have a fantastic testimonial, but you can't really use that as an ad or do anything with it because it's just boring nearly, because it's just so like black and white. Whereas then someone can take that, and I think that's what's good about UGC creator, take that and actually like, right, add a bit of psychology into it, add a bit of sales marketing into it, and add in, you know, what's the key benefits, what's the problem solving here. So then someone who actually would be watching that can then be like, oh wow, that actually makes sense. I got all the key points. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing how to use it. I'm seeing the before and afters. That's really given everything all in one go. That I think then it just like ties it all up a lot better. But yeah, as you said, Maria, it's always trying to tie it back to that authentic, what would someone actually say. So I feel like it's so important to even UGC creators out there, if you're ever making content, always think that you're making it nearly in your like Instagram priv to your friends and you're literally like, girls, I just got this is class. Or like trying to really always think forefront of mind, am I talking to my friend? If this is how I would actually talk to my friend as well. I know we're going to talk about it later as well, but brings on to about like the authenticity of content compared to specifically styled content as well.
As you already mentioned, we are just visual creatures. So sometimes we need that visual context to what is being said to us. So if we just read a testimonial, it's just very 2D, right? It's flat. And then if we see someone in that scenario, that's what kind of prompts us to make an action way quicker. But also, I feel like we quite often forget that UGC's function is not just selling products, right? So UGC can be used on multiple levels of your funnel of sales as well. So, it's an amazing tool to raise awareness about the brand. Obviously, for the consideration, when you do like comparison videos. So there's multiple ways that you can use UGC, obviously, depending on the level of authenticity and that personal style that we want to kind of talk about today. You're going to have different levels of all of those ingredients in your videos for different stages of your sales funnel. Maria, it would be very interesting to hear from you on this subject. How much does the authenticity from UGC actually matter to brands? Because obviously you are dealing with them on a daily basis. And how much of the styling in the content actually is requested from the brands? So what's the balance here?
It is a tricky question because it really depends on the brand requirements, I guess. If I were to speak for myself as a brand, as a platform to get content for Clip, I would prefer the more styled version of a video because that's what looks like it's converting for us. Because as a platform, and it really depends on the product, going back to your question, I think authenticity works well with products that maybe they're innovative and you are just really authentic about the way they make you feel or the way they smell or the way they look or stuff like that. I was just looking at a video literally yesterday, I think, and we have this company that does blue kind of like whatever vodka, whatever it is. And I saw a video of a creator doing it. So it's literally just her in the kitchen. She has you've probably seen one of you the video, probably, of course. She has the glass, the bottle next to it, nothing crazy, like that's it. And she is just, obviously when we're talking about authenticity, it's not just about you in front of the camera and just talking. That's not authenticity. It's more about, because obviously she had cuts of talking and like drinking and sipping and blah blah. But for me, what caught my eye and what I believe its authenticity is the moment she poured the liquid. She didn't expect that, and she saw that it's blue, and she was just like, "Wow, did you see this color?" Like she had a very natural reaction, and I don't know, maybe she saw that beforehand, maybe she didn't, I don't know. But for me, that was authenticity, right? She truly expressed herself and the way she felt when she saw that color. And then automatically, when I saw that too, I was just like, wow, this is such an amazing color. I want to try it now, The fact that she was just
so excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. It made me feel like, okay, I think I want to try this, I got sold by that,
But I love that,
like,
the fact that you got sold by an ad on your platform that that's a UGC creator creating for that company, and you still were like, I don't care, I still want to. Like, I think that, and it's all like sums up like a really good UGC video that even when you know it is, you're like, I don't care, I still want to try it.
Yeah, exactly. And there was no editing, like crazy editing on it. It was no like sound effects or emojis or transitions or all these like elements of editing. No, nothing. It was purely her reaction. That for me makes a video authentic. Again, for us as a platform, it is hard to make this. Like, how would you react? Like, it's a platform, what the hell? Like, there's nothing you can be, surprised about. That's why for us it works well. The styled version of USPs are the ones that make a big difference, right? Because no matter how talented the creator is, how creative if you as a brand don't have the right value propositions, and then obviously there's a lot of to talk about after that, like your website, how you onboard the brands and stuff like that. But going strictly to your USPs, right? How are you solving this problem? What are you like? How are you telling the creator to describe your product to the audience understand why they should use it? I think that's crucial. It's not the creator's job to try to sell your brand with very
nothing.
stupid like USPs or like it
Yeah.
like but again, I think it really depends on the brand. It really depends on the product, what they're looking for. Authenticity might work for position in the funnel. I think authenticity might work for going deeper into the funnel, because the first time people want to be impressed. They want to see shiny things. They want to see nice things. They want to see something that is more polished, I guess. So for me, maybe brand awareness would be, that's what works for us, at least. For me, works a more styled video, more heavy editing. But this is just for us. Again, that's
Mhm.
our situation. We can do like a testimonial, for example, from a brand that has experienced using clip. But again, just to sum up, it depends on the brand, it depends on their requirements, the product, and so on.
So
Yeah.
going from that, what is that kind of sweet spot between your own style and authenticity, and how much do we actually want to style the content to actually achieve the expectations of our clients, right? So what would you say? Do more brands go for styled, polished content? There's clearly some creative direction going on, there's clearly some more planning. Or do more brands go for that organic, rougher, kind of just testimonial, just speaking to the camera, or just, that raw emotion? What is the kind of ratio there?
From my understanding of from the videos that I've been seeing on Clip and campaigns in general and briefs, I think people are getting more into the styled option, I guess. I think you can be authentic even in the styled ones,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So I think it's just about people wanting, because obviously our USP is best in class UGC, right? So that means high quality UGC. So I think the main description that you would think as a brand you will get from a video, right? You'll get like top notch quality, right? And you can do top notch quality for an authentic kind of like video, of course, and it can be just a testimonial. But I think people in general, brands want to see something a bit more spectacular, more like out of the ordinary. Still, I believe brands, this is hard to answer in terms of the personality of the creator, and but I think brands would still want you to have your own personality, because that brings us again to the authenticity element in the video. I think there's a bigger percentage of the brands that are looking for a more styled kind of like video.
Yeah.
Probably, I don't know, 70% of them, I would say 60-70% around there. Yeah.
If a brand wants something that they could do themselves, they wouldn't go to a platform and get that. So therefore, straight away being on a platform, you want something more high quality, more, do you know what I mean, edited more kind of that way. But in saying that, I've noticed more actually in reviewing clips and too, and looking at briefs and whatnot, that more brands I'm starting to see are coming specifically for like raw clips or for just like day-to-day elements, that then I'm assuming they must be wanting to get those clips for them to take in-house, that then they
Yep.
have a bulk of, okay, generic, this is the person getting ready in the morning, we can cut that down ourselves. Or I'm seeing ones too that they don't want audio, they don't want text, it's literally just unboxings for them to then edit themselves. So I feel like there's nearly a new similar wave coming up, that like, yes, you've got your UGC videos, it's fully curated, fully completed, but there's also that side that brands are wanting just loads of different people with that B-roll and like that actual authentic customers using their content that then they can use as well. To me, authenticity, as what Maria said there, is what sold that blue drink to you was seeing that girl's face and her being surprised. And I feel like sometimes with creators, if I'm giving feedback, one thing I always tell is get your face in it. Like people sometimes, like not sometimes, people will always buy from emotion. So if I can physically see I'm opening something, I look excited, or I can see that I was like, had a problem, I looked sad, it's subconsciously then you can actually see that and turn that to the product. Where sometimes I personally think in videos that are solely just handsy, now fair enough, there's the trend with ASMR and I get that, but if it's just a UGC video, they went and showed the product, but they only done hands only, I'm kind of like, then fair enough for one or two if it's organic, but you need to have those facial emotions in it too to actually tie it all together and feel that authenticity.
That's where the tricky bit starts, right? Because it's the authenticity of the content. Is it just the emotion, or is it also how your house looks? Is it also what the background is? How you speak about the product? I feel like authenticity is such a big word that I feel like to actually achieve high quality in UGC, you have to have that authenticity aspect, because that is that star quality that someone watches the video for the first time and they're like, top-notch quality. It's not because you just shot it in a beautiful natural light in 4K 60 frames per second. It's not just that. It's because you felt natural, you felt in the right place, you gave that authentic feeling to it. Because I've seen videos on the platform that are ridiculous quality, almost too high quality. Like, this is almost like
proper TV ad. Yeah, it's amazing.
And then the person in it just looks out of place. And me as a someone who gives feedback on those videos, I am not even going to see the amazing quality, and I'm not going to actually comment it as something good, because it just looks so misplaced and so misunderstood that you lose that high quality at the end. So I feel like to have a real high quality UGC, you need to have that aspect of authenticity, because it's the key. It's one of the key aspects of that high quality itself. You can get the authenticity aspect in so many different ways. Even if you're unboxing and it's just hands only, make sure that your background, yes, it looks styled, but it also looks authentic. You don't have fake flowers blooming around it. You don't have things that are just not natural, because that would be for marketing content campaigns where they actually create, TV adverts or posters, designs. This is not your job. Don't sprinkle things around. When you have a perfume, just make it look beautiful. Make sure that other brands are not visible. Put a little flower vase. That is going to feel authentic, but styled at the same time, aspirational, right? Just something beautiful. But you're not going to have like fake flowers around it, because you just wouldn't.
No,
I feel like I feel like it is a slippery slope, nearly, because now that you're saying that, now recently, like for a few videos, I've noticed too that, and I don't mean this offensively whatsoever to UGC creators, because I feel like everyone is trying to get better and that is the aim. But I do feel like sometimes UGC creators are too quickly trying to become professional editorial video, really mad transitions, showing kind of like, oh, this is how you get a really professional looking shot, and it's got the water and it's got the sand and like all these fake things, or like loads of flowers around it. And for example, even today, like I was reviewing a video and the brand like kind of went back saying like, this doesn't feel authentic or whatever. It didn't fit the brief. And like the girl, I'm sure, that had done it was like, oh, I feel like I put loads of work in this, like great. But as you said, like it misses the mark because it's too much. And I feel like that's even something good to discuss with you too, that I feel like there's a slippery slope with UGC that people want authentic, but then people are going so hard at like a really trying to be an editorial video when it doesn't fit. But in saying that, brands sometimes do want that. So like, for example, like some videos that you're on about, like we know creators that make amazing videos. They're like TV ads, they're insane. But technically that's not UGC. However, some brands love that. So then it's so confusing for creators, because then you're kind of like, right, what is UGC now? Is it this, or is it split into sections? We've got low, mid, and high. Because even for me too, like some people want like really like play, not even actually anymore. People don't really want that plain. They're always on about like what clothing to wear, your backgrounds, no cables, and that it is more styled. But then they want like really high quality shots within it too. That technically, if I had free reign, I'd have been like, oh, I didn't think that was UGC enough. So I want to know your thoughts on it too, because I personally, now as UGC is starting to expand more, I find it really tricky myself, and that's why I really love a detailed brief, and I like talking to the brands to work out like, or even for them to know what they're doing, because sometimes it's really tough to meet that mark. And I think too, for creators, it's really hard for us to know fully what a brand wants and then to get our own creative approach out. So what do you think of that as well?
I feel like this is where your personal style really comes through and is very important, because we keep forgetting that these people found you somehow, and these people saw your work. This is what prompted them to come to you. So obviously, you need to be flexible enough to keep growing and learning and figuring out different shots, because otherwise you would just create the same video for every brand, right? You don't want that. No one wants that. But they saw that quality that you've had, that they felt like, ooh, she or he could capture that. So I feel like this is the very first thing to think about, is like establishing your personality through your videos. I feel like it's very important. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm wording my sentences like this. No, scripts could be very different. But it's just that level of the quality that you're showing, that this is what I can do, but I'm also open to do more or different things, right? Because there's so many ways that clients can use the content. It's not just ads anymore, right? There's just like it's crazy what they do with the content. And again, I do agree that the detailed brief definitely helps. I feel like if there's not enough information, stick to your gut. Just do what you feel like feels natural for you to create in this video. If they didn't give you detailed information enough, that's probably that because they want to see
They don't know. Yeah.
another
not sure
version
either,
of
yeah.
your skills that they saw on your portfolio or Instagram or whatever it was.
When I think about styled videos, I'm not necessarily referring to heavily edited videos. I'm talking about, like you said, literally what you said, right? With just put like a vase with a flower, but like nothing like would you in your real life have flowers in your house? Yes or not? That's the
Yes.
question, right? Because if you do, then that's absolutely fine. You can just have it next to your whatever perfume or jewelry or whatever makeup. It's not about like crazy transitions and a lot of sound effects and stuff like that, even though, as you, Ali, mentioned, some brands really want this because they don't have the resources, they don't have the time, they don't have the team in general to spend the time on creating these kind of videos, and that's completely fine as long as they mention in the brief again.
Yes.
Right, because that's why you have a brief. You want something that's more like very, very polished, very editorial, then that's fine. There's creators on Clip that are doing this. They're really good at doing this. But I don't, as you both said, I don't necessarily agree with the correlation between UGC and very, very editorial videos, because that's not the point again. Yeah, like UGC should be authentic in the sense of just being able to make that audience feel the same that way you feel. I truly believe it should be a balance between these two. Showing your personality, definitely you should do that. If we were to think about UGC as a pure form of user generated content, like a proper user just creating a content, right? Obviously they won't spend the time of like styling like stuff and like just
lo-fi,
very pretty, yeah. But then at the same time, brands don't want that. Like you would never, I mean, you would probably want to test it in ads and see how it's going to perform, but like getting like a raw image from a user with the product in the shower or whatever, like really bad lighting, you don't understand the writing, you don't understand the branding, is just like terrible. Like you wouldn't do that, right? So that's why we have platforms and content creators, professional content creators, to kind of like elevate this this UGC like a concept. I think it's like everything in life, right? Don't exaggerate. Like try to stay balanced. Like don't eat too much sugar, don't eat too much carbs, don't eat like it's literally like that. Just take bits from the authentic part of yourself, of like expressing the emotions, but try to make it in a more like eye pleasing kind of like way. Not crazy,
just
pretty.
Just pretty, just pretty.
You need to think about it as like, if someone looks at it in some way, it needs to be aspirational for someone, because they aspire to have that product or lifestyle or whatever it is that you're showcasing in the video.
So if we're moving on to then talking about personalities and stuff, this I think we spoke about before, and I think is incredibly important, is kind of as a creator knowing who you are and the style of content you are. So for example, I think I spoke about it before, but like, as much as I'd love to be, I'm not one of those like really funny cracking jokes comedic creators. I would love to be, but it's not me. And that's not a bad thing. I know it's not, so I will not try to ever make myself be that, because it's just not my style of content. And also too, it wouldn't come across authentic, because I'm sure we can all agree too, we've seen videos in the past where the brief might be slightly different from what that creator's used to doing and their style of content, and they really struggle, and you can feel it's just not them, and it's very obvious. So I feel like a massive point to people is you don't have to niche down, but just know what your kind of vibe is for your style of videos, because that's not going to inhibit your like inbounds, or for example, if you apply for campaigns and those actual brands selecting you and click. In fact, it's going to actually help more, because they're going to view it and be like, oh, is she for us? Is he for us? Yes, definitely they are, or no, they're not actually. And then they can move on to the next person too. And also, it comes down to like re-edits and stuff as well, because no one wants re-edits. If you can nail it and they know that you're the same kind of vibe and that you match up, you'll have less re-edits and they'll be so much happier, and so will you, because instead of you feeling icky and like, oh, I don't know how to make this work, it'll come so much more naturally. But what do you think too, Nicola? I know for me, comedy is not my thing. What would you be yours for you, not for you, like your dead yeses and nos?
I agree. Comedy is not necessarily my sort of thing, even though I consider myself hilarious, but it's not in the UGC though.
Yeah.
It doesn't really
It's
work.
just in the real life, in the podcast.
Just
Exactly.
here.
Also, when I don't do too much sport, if that makes sense. So
it's a yoga girly vibe.
If you ask me to shoot in the gym, that's a no. That's not going to happen. If you ask me for yoga or Pilates videos, of course. I don't want to pay, because I'm not paying for gym. So like, I don't want to pay 10 quid to just get into gym to shoot the video. So that's another thing to remember also.
On that point, Nicola, see when you're saying there, because it comes into my mind. Say, for example, I know Dead's research and someone else out there knows what exactly the style of content they like, and they're working with the brand. And then the brand, for example, when they're discussing, they're actually like, oh, you've agreed what you're doing. And then afterwards they're like, oh, we'd love to see this kind of thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, this is definitely not for me. How exactly would you advise people navigating? Because I know for me, anyway, in that instance, like, you want to be dead sort like, no, I know what I am not. But say, for example, you were, and then they were like, oh, actually, we want this in the gym and we need this. How would you then respond to that?
Yeah. So I've had a situation like that quite recently, actually. So it's a brand that I've been working with for a while. This client was a very good training almost for me to get more comfortable with different things shown on camera. So like for example, I'm in pain. Like I used to hate that. It would make me cringe to be like, oh my belly, like for the videos. Now I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, you don't even think after a while.
Yeah, exactly. It's like my knee actually hurts now. Like
it's so believable, so authentic.
So I guess it's the other side of it. It's like sometimes it's worth trying it out to see if you feel comfortable down the line or not. You don't even have to send that clip to the client at the end, right? You can just test it out, and this will never show the light of the day ever. But I feel like for this particular brand, they basically asked me to like spill something while I was in pain. Like I was in such pain that I spilled. And that's when I was like, first of all, the mess, like I'm going to spill something. And it was like quite a colorful liquid as well. So I was like, that is a no. So the way we went around it was like, look, guys, in this situation, when it does involve scenes that, for example, might ruin my surroundings, I would expect you to actually rent out a studio or whatever, and then we can shoot this type of content. So with the gym situation, it's a bit sketchier, right? I would probably say, look, guys, this is not something that I usually do. But then again, this is probably why I don't apply for any campaigns that have that kind of connotation. It all depends on your relationship with the brand, I think, right?
I feel like it nearly can make it tougher when there's a longer relationship there, because, for example, if you've done multiple videos, multiple different like campaigns for different things, and then they're like a recurring client, they come back, okay, this month we love what you do, and you've got that rapport with them, and then it's like, we're thinking this, we're thinking that, and then that's completely not what you do. I personally find it harder, but like sometimes you do just have to be open, but like that's not, or what I typically tend to do for people out there, I will go back with a retweet version and be like, love that idea for that to match exactly how I can see this happening. I would do X, Y, Z, and then see what they come back with, because I do feel like it's happened me a couple of times, and 9 times out of 10 too, they are like, yeah, perfect. Whereas sometimes at the very, very start, when I was first starting out, I was like, oh dear God, they're gonna like not want to like work with me no more. This is gonna be so bad, like just being stupid. And then it was just like, it was a simple thing of just communicating, that's not my typical style, for this to come across as authentic and to work as best as possible, I would recommend this. So I would always say to people, don't go to brands with problems, go to brands with solutions. If there's something you're not comfortable doing, go with the solution of how you can retweak it, and then leave it up to them. And you know what, worst case scenario, it may not no longer work, but I'm sure the brand would probably appreciate you being open and honest of like exactly what you can see happening, rather than you send a content and be like, wait, maybe she isn't as good as we thought she was. And then like being like, we'll not use her again. So I feel like it's that balance of fully understanding the brands too, like if they know you, and also true like that open communication of like, okay, we're all on the same page here as well.
But I think it also comes with your kind of your worth and how you view yourself as a professional. I guess that could be translated to any other industry. There could be content creators who are like, look, I know that I'm good and I'm good at what I'm doing. But there's also creators who are like, oh, might as well, because like I'm scared that I'm not going to get another job, as you said. Yes. So there's that insecurity that we 100% get it. We've been there. We kind of get lost in the translation of like, is this still UGC? Is this too much? Is this too little? There's always going to be something, but it doesn't matter what you're doing in your life. There's always going to be things like that, because we're just human beings and everyone views things a little bit differently. So I guess, again, it comes back to your personal, you know, how you view yourself and how you want your content to come across, because at the end of the day, it is you.
And I think also, also because I was actually talking to Andrea this morning. I think the problem of our generation is that we are overthinkers.
Oh, yes.
And because of that, that's why, again, brands need to be a little bit more on top of things in terms of the brief, because these things happen, you know. And I mean, creators want to give their best in their work, right? And they're trying to put the best things out there and come up with the script and so on. But if you're not helping them to understand your vision, your goals, it's so hard. And then we get into this like overthinking mode of like, would they want this? Would they do that? How would they want me to portray the product? Are they going to use the video in paid ads? Are they going to use the video for their organic purposes? Are they going to put them on their landing page?
Are they going to use it at all? Because
exactly.
I feel like that's quite a general feeling as well. Is like sometimes when you feel like you're doubting your own content, it's like, yes, they paid for it because they ordered it, but are they going to use it? Like, are they actually happy with it to go ahead and actually use it in the promotional material? So there's loads and loads of questions. I don't know, Ali, if you would agree with me. That's actually quite an interesting question to you as well. Is like, still to this day, like I believe in my content and I know that it's good. And every now and then I send a video and there's like one scene or like one something that I was like, when I was already editing it, I probably doubted it already. And then when I sent it through, I feel like it's almost like a personal challenge now not to get revisions, right? It's like, I just want to have it done in one go.
Like, yeah. It's like a wee personal like pat on the back. Yes, and like, okay, exactly. Send your advice. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. But then every now and then when I send this video, I'm like, oh shit. Like I left this tiny little window for them to potentially have an issue with.
I am like self-proclaimed, like I am a perfectionist, like too much though. Like sometimes that I will nearly not do, I will never finish something because I'm too like, it's not right, or like get started. But what I will say, and I hold pride in myself, is the fact that I genuinely, anything that I ever send, I will be so meticulous about looking at it. And if there's bits in it that I'm not 100% happy with, 9 times out of 10, I will refilm that or I will do it because I'm like, I just have this fear. It's like a people pleaser and like, I don't know, not for you to turn into my therapist here, but like there's a thing I'm like, I never want to do something wrong or get in trouble, which is bad.
I understand.
But also good, because then it means that you have a very like high level of like constantly checking or making sure, not to say I'm perfect, because there's definitely times when I mess up or I miss things, but like having that always in the back of my mind, I'm like, am I 100% happy? And if I'm not, fix it, move on.
Because I feel like perfectionism and overthinking are two different things as well. Is like when you're perfectionist, you just need to have things done your way and then you know that everything clicks. Overthinking is when you already did the perfectionism bit.
Yeah.
And
but
then
you're still doubting,
you start like your head starts spinning.
So when you, maybe you have the word, when you try to give up on things because of just to please someone, how do you call that? Compromise. Yes.
Compromise. Well done.
Just to sum up this personality situation, whatever you do, don't compromise your personality because you think that the brand wants this or wants that. Always try to ask before you start shooting the content, like, look, this is my personality, or do you want me to be like this or like that? If they ask you to do something that it's not in your comfort zone, and I'm not talking about things that you can push yourself to do and you are capable and willing to do, so I'm talking about things like, like being funny, like Ali. She would never do that because she's not good at it, she doesn't like it, whatever the reason behind.
She's not funny.
Not funny. That's my bubble popped. Not going to become a comedian overnight. Great.
No, but it's just like
if it's not, it's not. Like, yeah.
If it's not, it's not. It doesn't even have to be like I'm not good at it. It's just like I don't like it. I don't want to do it.
It doesn't come natural. Like,
it doesn't come natural.
Dying over there.
Yeah, she's just feeling so funny about herself, being so funny in this moment,
Because I did mention that I find myself funny, and then this came up, and I just because actually, Ali, I find you hilarious, actually. So that's the funniest bit.
Thanks. So yeah, to sum up, like, even if we could all give our key point away from it, I think mine off the bat would be, for creators out there, just get to know what your style is, but also don't be afraid of actually expanding that, but also communicating that to brands. So as I spoke about before, if you work long term or you're doing a brief and it's not exactly you, go back to that brand with how it could work or how you could fit it to suit you, because they will definitely appreciate that, I think, in the end up as well.
I think also the point that we made of like, be you, but be the best version of you as well. It's my takeaway would be to create authentic content, but in like a styled way enough that feels inspirational. That's what I would say.
And then for me, I think part of yours as well, because if you think about it, you really want to find the balance between these things of like, being yourself, but trying to get out of your comfort zone if you feel like you can do it, being authentic, but trying to be a bit more styled as well at the same time. So
it's just like being a woman, isn't it? All of a sudden.
Multitasking, right?
I can just see that Barbie monologue, when she goes,
gotta be this, but she can't be that. Gotta be that, but can't be this.
I think try to find the balance, just like in life, because yes, brands really want to see authenticity, and I think the authenticity is really related to your personality and the way you make the audience feel about the product. But also at the same time, don't just like slap a video over there and then show your emotions, show your whatever, your personality, which is great, but then on the more like polished aspect there's zero, then that's also a bit of a problem, because the brands are looking for something that they cannot achieve. Just always try to find the balance. So yeah, I think that's pretty much our episode for today. As usual, let us know if you have any questions. We would love to hear your thoughts on how you would portray yourself, if you're either more into authentic, if you're more into that styled kind of UGC creator, but also if you have any questions that can help you, like Ali had, for example, what would you do in this situation? I think there's millions of questions of what would you do in these situations, especially with brands, right? So feel free to let us know. Also, any topics that you want to discuss, more than happy to hear your thoughts. And yeah, just reach out to us over social media: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere, literally. Also email hello@usclip.com. That's it for today. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.